Welcome back, everybody, to the Deep Dive. This time, we're going to do things a little differently. We're going to journey back to 1937, to the very dawn of feature-length animation.
Ooh, exciting. I'm ready.
A film that really needs no introduction.
Uh.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Oh, wow. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It's incredible to think that this film, a landmark achievement in cinematic history,
It truly is.
almost a century old.
Yeah.
And yet continues to just captivate audiences even today.
It really is mind-blowing when you consider the technology available at the time.
I know.
It's a testament to Walt Disney's vision and the artistry of his animators
Right.
that they were able to pull this off. The world's first full-length, cel-animated feature film in English and in Technicolor, no less. Talk about a gamble.
Absolutely. It's fascinating to see how they adapted the original Brothers Grimm fairy tale, which, let's be honest, is a pretty dark and grim tale.
It is, yeah.
Disney managed to transform those basic elements into something so magical and, dare I say, groundbreaking for the time.
You know, one of the things that struck me most about the film is the evil queen. She's not your typical power-hungry villain. Her motivation, pure vanity, is so compelling and, in a way, relatable.
Oh, interesting.
Who hasn't looked in the mirror and wished they could change something about themselves?
That's a really insightful point. The queen's obsession with beauty, it taps into a very human fear, particularly for women of aging and losing their attractiveness.
Right.
It's a fear that's often exploited even today.
Absolutely. And that iconic line, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?
Oh, yes.
It's instantly recognizable, and it perfectly encapsulates her narcissism.
It's a line that has transcended the film itself and become part of our cultural lexicon.
Truly.
But it's not just her words, it's her actions, too.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that chilling scene where she kicks the skeleton of a prisoner in her dungeon? It's such a small detail, but it speaks volumes about her cruelty and the depths of her depravity.
Chilling reminder that her vanity isn't just a harmless flaw. It's a dangerous obsession that ultimately drives her to attempt murder.
That's what makes her such a compelling villain. She's not just evil for the sake of being evil. She's driven by a very human, albeit twisted, desire. It makes you wonder, is vanity truly a powerful enough motivator for such heinous acts?
Well, it certainly is in her case.
Yeah.
But let's move on to Snow White herself. She's often viewed as a passive damsel in distress. But I think there's more to her than that.
I completely agree. She embodies innocence, optimism, and kindness. It's no wonder that animals are drawn to her. She radiates warmth and compassion, and she's incredibly resilient.
Exactly. She finds herself in a terrifying situation, but she doesn't just sit around and wait for someone to rescue her. She takes initiative, cleaning the dwarf's cottage, singing with the animals, trying to make the best of a bad situation.
She's proactive and resourceful, and her beauty, while it does make her a target, is ultimately overshadowed by her inner strength and goodness. It's her spirit that shines through and ultimately wins over even the most cynical of the dwarfs.
Speaking of the dwarfs, each one is so distinctly drawn with such unique personalities. Doc, grumpy, happy, sleepy, bashful, sneezy, doopy. They're like a microcosm of humanity, representing different facets of human nature.
And they provide so much of the film's humor and heart.
Oh, absolutely. Heigh-Ho is an all-time classic, and who can forget the hilarious scene where they're all trying to wash up for dinner?
I think Grumpy's character arc is particularly interesting.
Oh, yeah.
He starts off so resistant to Snow White's presence,
Yeah.
but by the end, he's the one who's most heartbroken by her apparent death.
His emotional breakdown at her bedside is surprisingly powerful and really adds a layer of depth to the film.
It's a testament to the animator's ability to convey complex emotions through these seemingly simple characters. They manage to create characters that are both archetypal and deeply human.
Now, we can't talk about Snow White without addressing the prince. He's often criticized for being one-dimensional and a bit of a plot device.
He's certainly not the most developed character, but I think his role is more symbolic than substantial.
Okay.
He represents romantic love and the promise of a happily ever after, which, in the context of a fairy tale, isn't necessarily a bad thing.
You're right. And their limited interaction is interesting. Some see it as a flaw, while others argue it allows the story to focus squarely on Snow White's journey of self-discovery and resilience.
It's certainly a point of debate among film critics and scholars.
It is.
But one thing is certain, the film's music is undeniably captivating.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm wishing, whistle while you work. Someday my prince will come. These songs aren't just catchy tunes, they're intricately woven into the narrative, advancing the plot, revealing character, and evoking deep emotion.
Someday My Prince Will Come even became a jazz standard.
Wow.
Talk about a testament to the film's musical impact.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of groundbreaking, we have to talk about the animation and visual style. The lush backgrounds, the vibrant colors, expressive character animation, it's all so captivating, especially considering this was all done by hand, frame by frame.
It's a true masterpiece of animation.
It is.
The animators had to invent new techniques and push the boundaries of what was possible at the time.
Right.
For example, the scene where the queen transforms into the witch is incredibly complex and still holds up remarkably well today.
And then there's the use of Technicolor, which was still a relatively new technology at the time. It brings a whole new level of visual richness to the film, creating a truly magical world that draws you in.
It's a feast for the eyes, and it's a testament to the vision and artistry of the filmmakers.
Okay, before we delve into the darker elements of Snow White, let's pause and take a moment to appreciate the sheer beauty and groundbreaking achievements of this film. It's easy to forget, in our world of CGI and computer animation, just how revolutionary this film was in 1937.
Absolutely. It was a game changer that paved the way for the entire animation industry as we know it. Watching Snow White today, it's easy to get, I think, swept up in the nostalgia and the charm. But it's important to remember that beneath that fairy tale veneer,
Right.
there are some surprisingly dark and unsettling moments.
You're absolutely right. It's interesting how the film balances those lighthearted moments with scenes of genuine terror and suspense.
Yes.
Creates this fascinating contrast that I think adds to the film's enduring appeal.
I agree. It makes you wonder, do those darker elements enhance the film's magic or detract from it?
That's a great question. For me, they definitely enhance the story.
Interesting.
Take, for instance, the Queen's transformation into the hag. It's genuinely creepy, and the scene where she concocts the poisoned apple is full of suspense. You know something terrible is about to happen, and it just sends shivers down your spine.
And then there's Snow White's death and her entombment in the glass coffin. These scenes are etched in my memory, even from childhood. They're beautifully animated, but there's a haunting quality to them that's both unsettling and captivating.
It's true. Those darker elements add a layer of complexity and depth that you wouldn't necessarily expect in a film aimed at children. But I think that's one of the reasons why Snow White has resonated with audiences for so long. It doesn't shy away from the darker aspects of the fairy tale, which, let's face it, are often the most intriguing parts.
I think you're right. It's that contrast between light and dark, good and evil, that gives the film its power.
Yeah.
It's a story about facing your fears, overcoming adversity, and ultimately the triumph of good over evil, which are all timeless themes.
And it's a message that resonates across generations. You know, it's incredible to think that this film was released way back in 1937. It was a different world, but the themes and the emotions explored in Snow White are just as relevant today as they were then.
Absolutely. It's a testament to the film's enduring legacy. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs wasn't just a film. It was a cultural phenomenon that set the standard for animation, storytelling, and musical filmmaking.
It really did pave the way for the entire Disney empire as we know it. And just think about its impact on popular culture. The characters, the songs, the images, they're instantly recognizable, even to people who haven't seen the film.
Snow White has become an archetype, the innocent, kind-hearted heroine who triumphs over evil. The evil queen, with her obsession with beauty, is the epitome of vanity and jealousy. And who could forget those lovable, quirky dwarfs?
They've become a part of our collective consciousness. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is more than just a movie.
It is.
It's a cultural touchstone. It's a fairy tale, a cautionary tale, and ultimately a story about hope and resilience.
And its influence can still be felt today, inspiring countless other films, TV shows, books, and even video games. It's a testament to the power of imagination and the enduring appeal of classic storytelling.
Speaking of storytelling, one thing I think we need to highlight is the brilliant voice acting in Snow White. Adriana Castellati as Snow White. Her voice was just so sweet and innocent, perfectly capturing that youthful optimism.
Absolutely. Her voice is iconic. It's impossible to imagine anyone else as Snow White.
Yeah.
And on the other end of the spectrum, you have Lucille Laverne as the evil queen, chillin'.
Her performance is masterful. Her voice could send shivers down your spine, especially during that transformation scene.
Oh, for sure.
And let's not forget the talented actors who voiced the dwarfs. each one so distinct and memorable.
They really brought those characters to life, giving each dwarf a unique personality and making them feel like real people despite their fantastical nature.
Right.
Each one is so perfectly cast.
And of course, behind it all was the visionary Walt Disney. It's hard to imagine the film industry without his contributions.
He was a true pioneer,
Truly.
a master storyteller who understood the power of animation to capture the imagination and touch the hearts of audiences worldwide.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was a testament to his vision and his unwavering belief in the power of dreams.
It's a film that continues to inspire and entertain generations of moviegoers, reminding us of the magic that can happen when creativity, artistry, and storytelling come together.
Well said. Before we wrap up our deep dive into Snow White, I wanted to touch upon something that I find incredibly fascinating about this film. Its enduring appeal.
Yeah.
It was released almost a century ago, and yet it continues to resonate with audiences today. Why do you think that is? What is it about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs that keeps us coming back for more, generation after generation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is it about this film that continues to resonate with audiences nearly a century later? I think it's a combination of factors. For one, the story itself is archetypal. It taps into these universal themes of good versus evil, love, loss, and redemption. These are themes that resonate across cultures and time periods.
It's true. Those themes are timeless, and they're explored in Snow White in a way that's both accessible and engaging even for very young viewers. But I think there's something more to it than just the story.
I agree. I think it has a lot to do with the film's artistry. The animation, even by today's standards, is stunning. The characters are so expressive, the backgrounds are lush and detailed, and the use of color is masterful. It's a visual feast that draws you in and creates a truly immersive experience.
You know, you're right. When you watch Snow White, you're not just watching a movie. You're stepping into a world that feels both familiar and magical.
Yes.
It's like revisiting a cherished childhood dream.
And then there's the music.
Oh, the music.
And those iconic songs are so catchy and memorable, they stay with you long after the film is over.
I find myself humming Whistle While You Work,
You know,
even now.
The music adds another layer of emotional depth to the film, enhancing the joy, the sorrow, and the suspense. It's a perfect example of how music can elevate storytelling to another level.
And let's not forget the impact this film had on the animation industry. It truly was a game changer,
It was.
paving the way for all the animated classics that followed.
Without Snow White, it's hard to imagine we'd have films like Pinocchio, Fantasia, Bambi, and all the other masterpieces that Disney went on to create. It set the bar incredibly high, not just in terms of technical achievement, but also in terms of storytelling and artistic vision.
It's amazing to think that this film, which was considered a huge risk at the time, went on to become such a massive success and a cultural touchstone. It's a testament to the power of believing in your dreams and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
And it's a reminder that great stories, told well, have the power to transcend time and connect with audiences on a deep emotional level.
Well said. And on that note, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. We hope you enjoyed revisiting this classic film and exploring its many layers with us.
It's been a pleasure diving into this cinematic landmark and sharing our thoughts and insights with you.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of film.